Hello, everyone. Welcome to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Aged Boomer. This is my co-host, Pacelli, and
Hello, hello.
this is the other co-host, the Geezette, Netter of Netters Network. Welcome.
She's here to class up the joint.
So yeah,
Am I wrong? Come on, am I wrong?
you're
So
not
does
wrong.
mean I'm classy?
I'm saying you're classy. That's right.
I'm half expecting what is it like a Harley Quinn's voice now?
Yeah, there you
But
go.
I'm classy.
the presentation upload okay? I forgot to ask
Oh,
that.
yeah, it's ready to go.
All right, cool. Because we got an interesting good old days, and Troy will argue with me that's not that old, and I argue anything prior to 2014 is good old days.
It's funny because just recently I was looking at, I was putting together retro cinema for Netter, and I'm like, some of these movies, like we just did Forrest Gump last night, and I'm like, well, this isn't that. And then I looked at what year it came out, and I'm
Yep.
like, crap, that is kind of retro now, isn't
Yep.
it?
I have no idea. I thought the technology they used for that, where they were interspliced, the young Tom Hanks with
Yeah.
all the famous
Uh-huh.
people, and I don't know why Hollywood didn't stick to doing that with other things. Like I made an argument with the Tron Legacy that
Uh-huh.
they could have gotten old footage of Jeff Bridges and just spliced that into talking to his son, and then they could have done the CG for Clue later on. But I because they didn't have the de-aging down yet, but they already
Right.
had the technology to do this. There were a ton of Jeff Bridges movies from that era, or even
Well,
some old Tron outtakes they could have taken
one
it
of the things I
put it in
pointed
there.
out was the scene with Elvis, where he's just kind of in the background and blurry, and it's like, I mean, it could have just as well been perfect. It was good enough. It wasn't focused on him. He was a background character. I'm like, that's the way you do it if you don't have the technology. That's why, yeah, Jeff Bridges in that Tron Legacy, I was like, you should not have done that. It would have been fine if you got him from behind. You never
And they
saw
were
him
doing
face
that.
on.
They were having him
And
talk
then
from
he
behind.
turns around and he's got wax face. And it's like, you blew it, guys. You blew it.
That
You
was fine for Clue.
overstepped.
That was fine for Clue because he was a
Yeah,
program and he looked kind of creepy. He's supposed to be kind of creepy, so
exactly.
I think they flubbed it there. But we'll have more Tron news later tonight. Have
Yes,
a
we
great
will.
show, my friends. Thank you, Big Al. And Usarn G, welcome.
USRNG, good to see you, my friend.
We do something with rabbits recently. Oh yeah, Sparkwood21.
Sparkwood
Because
21,
Usagi
right?
means bunny.
Oh, okay.
In fact, there was a famous manga called well, actually I can't say the title on air, but it was
Oh,
about it was about American involvement in the Vietnam War, but it was all done with animals.
oh,
And the
interesting.
American GIs were portrayed as bunnies. And you're probably
Interesting.
wondering why that is, because USA GI Usagi. And
Oh, I see.
and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
means
yeah.
bunny. And it's funny. I think the French in the comic were portrayed as frogs. I could be wrong there. Maybe they weren't frogs. Maybe they were something else. Maybe they were pigs or something. And the Vietnamese were portrayed as cats, which I thought was interesting.
Ooh, yeah.
And they remade it years later as like a not almost like a sort of realistic CG anime, but it wasn't like a like typical anime with big eyes. They look like actual animals, but they said it in the Gulf conflict. Okay, so
Oh, interesting.
it said it was the bunnies versus these anthropomorphic camels instead because it was
Oh, interesting.
bunnies, But anyway, I don't know. There's this horrible scene with one of the bunnies running away and he gets plugged in the back by one of the camels, like
Oh,
shot.
God.
And I remember reading the comments on YouTube. It says, "Oh, I wish they had Saturday morning cartoons like this when I was a kid." You have to see it. It was like a horrifying trailer because it was like as brutally real as they could make it, but it's animals. Do you understand? And
Yeah,
like
yeah, I get
uniforms
it.
and stuff. And
Right.
it was just the most bizarre thing. I wish I'd picked that up on DVD while it was around, but oh well. Welcome everybody though. Welcome Aged Boomer. You're always welcome here. Curtis Selby. Did you hear that? That was to me.
Yes.
Sergeant Garatino. Netter of Netters Network. Welcome.
Yep.
JPRPH1. And Zootopia, welcome. Andrea Black, welcome. Is that a cowboy emoji I see there? Look at that. Hey, y'all.
Oops, I meant to bring it up there. Yep, that's a cowboy waving high.
Let's see, Lady Misc Flowers, thank you. We had a lovely stream Friday night. You can catch it on Rumble, Stories Rumble chat.
Just kind of went
So,
up. Yeah, make sure you're staying close to your mic.
who, me? Did I fade out?
Yeah, you
Do I
did.
sound okay now?
You do now, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's weird. I wonder why that happens. I need to get a new headset. I know I keep saying that. I have a new headset somewhere. I haven't opened it up yet. Let me see here, though. JPRPH1, Justice for Flappy. Yes, Justice for Flappy.
Indeed.
I mean, you know, he sinned, but he didn't sin every day of his life. That's all I'm saying. That's actually a line. What was that? Jason and the Argonauts? Or it was one of those where, like, the guy says, I sinned, but I didn't sin every day of my life because the gods are punishing him. You know? And he has a point. I think he was trying to get to the bread, and some vulture thing kept coming after him every time he tried to go near so he was always hungry. And he argued, well, yes, I sinned, but I didn't sin every day of my life.
Yeah.
I think it was Jason and the Argonauts. It was one of those Ray Harryhausen.
I was going to just say, it was probably a Ray Harryhausen thing.
All right. So, welcome, Jessica Hardo. I remember Jason the Argonauts, there was a lovely dance scene in that, as I recall.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
With the golden lady, who what else was she in? I think she was in an episode of Star Trek. All right. I guess get to the presentation.
Okay, let me bring up the presentation.
Now, we're going to talk about the good old days, as we always do. And this might seem rather recent for some, but it ties to a story tonight. Right. And I've always argued that good old days is anything prior to 2014. So we're going to talk about 2012, and we're going to talk about Dredd. Judgment is coming. Dredd 3D. This is when they were really pushing 3D movies. Remember?
Right.
I mean, they still have them, but they aren't pushing like they used to. I'll say this. There are definitely scenes in the Dredd movie with the slow-mo drug where everything looks 3D. Before we start, have you seen this movie?
Which one is this? Is this one with
Carl Urban, not Stallone?
I have not seen the Carl Urban.
You've seen the Stallone version.
I've seen the Stallone version.
Okay. I don't mind the Stallone version. I think this is a better movie right here. The Stallone version's fine, though. Some argued that what they did was they remade a movie called The Raid, which I still have to watch. I have it on DVD. I think it was correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was a Korean action movie, I believe, about them gunning down criminals in a super large high-rise building and them being stuck in there. But, all right, I'll get into this. So, that is Carl Urban. One of the complaints about the Stallone movie is that he kept taking the mask off, because if you cast Stallone in your movie, you're going to want him to show his face, correct?
Right.
In this movie, the helmet is kept on the whole movie. He never removes it, because in the comic books, he never removes it. Right. I don't know if you know much about Judge Dredd, the comic book.
Only what I've heard in commentaries in relationship to movies.
I've read the comic book. It's a British comic book, though it does take place in the United States. After a huge nuclear war happens, and there are only, I think, there are different mega cities around the world now where the remaining populace live in, and there are these huge, massive cities, and this is Mega City 1, and I could be wrong, I believe there's a Mega City 2 and a Texas City in the United States. Those are the three cities. But in the future, though, they've kind of gotten rid of the they've streamlined the legal system, so now you have judge, jury, and of course in these types of movies, executioner. Even though in the comic books he didn't execute people, he would always sentence them. You have these judges, like these super police officers, because there actually are regular police still on the streets, but these are the judges. You don't want to go up against them.
So wait a minute. So now you've got me wondering is there some sort of an not executive branch, who are the lawmakers? These guys apparently are the executive and judicial branch.
I think they are the lawmakers.
And they
could be
make the
wrong.
laws. They go. That can't. There's got to be
No,
some
no,
unity in
no.
who makes the
I
laws.
think. Oh, I think that's it. I think they're the ones in charge. Now there are higher judges. There are chief judges that are above Judge Dredd. But yeah,
Gotcha.
it's all the judge department, as I recall. Yes, no, they're in charge. It's I don't know if there's still a president or not. Um, I've read a few of the comics, but it's been a number of years since I read those.
Gotcha.
But this is very. It has kind of that British weirdness to it in sci-fi. How you get the British weirdness
Yeah.
in sci-fi, you get that in this. I believe this was shot in South Africa too, in Johannesburg, I believe, because I think they wanted a city that was very, I guess, looked like something out that was very hot, basically. But anyway, though, but that's what it looks like in the movie, and it's just really neat. What I liked about this movie is those are some of the other judges you see in the movie. See,
Robert's Infinite Realm says Troy Dredd has a rich history. I'm a fan. You should go down that rabbit hole. It's great. Yeah, it sounds like it probably does.
I think you would like the Dredd comics. Yeah.
I bet there's more to it, like some sort of a legislature that creates laws, and these guys have combined the judiciary and the executive branch or something like that.
I don't know. It's it's like things got too chaotic after the nuclear war. And like we're just set, we're just and things are still chaotic even with the judges around. There's still horrible criminals running about on the streets. But that's Carl Urban. I'm trying to think what else you might know him from. He's been on The Boys. He was Dr. McCoy in the Star Trek reboots movies.
Yeah, I know him.
And big fan of this movie. We have Cy Judge Anderson in this movie. I'll give you a little background on her. They didn't have her in the Slow movie because I felt they probably didn't want to introduce her yet. If the Slow movie had gotten a sequel, you probably would have seen Judge Anderson. She's a mutant, and as one of the criminals says, "Oh, most of these mutants, they end up with 2 heads or 5 arms or no arms." And says, "But you're pretty put together." But she has psychic ability. She can read people's minds.
Oh, yikes!
Yes, and I like how they do that in this movie too, because one of the bad guys starts with, "So you can read my mind," and of course he flashes before her him doing something inappropriate with her, and but then she kind of takes over, and he's like, and then I think she goes into his head and says, "Oh, you can do whatever you want. Oh, so I can do whatever I want because you're in my head now." But then she really messes him up inside his own head. It just does.
Oh gosh,
she's an interesting character. I would argue she's the protagonist of this movie. She's the rookie. She kind of failed her police exam, but they really want a psychic on the force. So they says, "Look, I'll let you decide if she's a pass or a fail. You'll be the deciding factor." So Dredd takes her out for a day on the streets to see how she does, and
I kind of figured that's where you were going, that you weren't going to say he took her out for a coffee just to have a talk with her.
No, he's not warm and sensitive. That's Olivia Thurby who plays her as well in this. I'm kind of sad we didn't get a sequel. I wanted to see more of her and more of Carl Urban's Dredd, but I think it didn't do quite well enough. They were toying with doing a Netflix series, but it just never came to pass. But it's a standalone movie. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I've heard, and you could tell me if you agree with this or not, but I've heard that there was a contingent of fans that liked the Stallone film so much they felt this wasn't connected to that. They were bothered by it. Kind of like what we're seeing going on with Superman today.
Here's what I would argue. I don't think this movie is trying to snub the Stallone movie. You're not going to get a sequel to the Stallone movie how many years after? That ship has sailed. You're going to get a reboot.
True.
I mean, the Stallone movie came out in '95. I remember I went to see it in theater opening weekend because I was very excited about it, and I like the Stallone movie for what it's worth. But I think the Imagination of the City is a little better because I think this one doesn't have quite that high a budget. But I think that this is still the better movie. And funny enough, both the Stallone movie and this movie, these are those '90s dystopian or 80s dystopian science fiction movies that had a lot of action in them, and that's what this reminds me of. This is almost like a throwback movie to like a lot of these action movies I loved in the 80s, like Total Recall and what's the other one? Running Man and things like that. And it's a full R rating. So anyway, they go to investigate some homicides at this place called Pete. Oh wait, by the way, that's what Judge Anderson looks like in the comic book. I thought they did a pretty good
Looks like
likeness
they
of
were
her.
pretty accurate.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, that might have been hairstyling and whatnot, but yeah, I think she looks pretty close. So they go to investigate, and here we have the villain of the movie. And what's her name? That's Lena Headey, right? The one who, Lena Headey, the one who was on Terminator, Sarah Connor Chronicles, and later Game of Thrones. But she's the villain in this. She basically, so basically,
300 as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was in the 300. Yeah, so I guess she's in these types of movies, isn't she? But she, she's basically like the crime boss in this part of the city, which is this huge building complex, like 150 levels, I think. And she runs it all. She basically destroyed the gangs that were running it, and she took it all over herself. And now she's producing a drug called slow-mo. When you take slow-mo, everything slows down in front of you. And part of me wonders, does that make your reflexes faster? So if someone's going to punch you, it slows down so you can get at them faster? I've often wondered about that. But
well, I would imagine so, but I figure your muscles don't move any faster than they would normally. So you move just as slowly as you normally do. It's not like you could dodge a bullet. It's just you can watch it coming at you for longer.
That's sort of what happens. This is her example of cruelty. She's throwing some guy who failed her, or maybe a rival gang member, and she's all the way at the top of the tower, and she says, "Throw him down, but give him some slow-mo first, so it takes that much longer to fall in his mind to his death." That's pretty sick, actually. No, Troy, that's not. Okay. Oh. And they love this one. Netflix series fell through because of rights distribution. Oh, interesting. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading Geek Flag. Did you like this one, Geek Flag? Didn't know, but just a good movie. It really is a callback to those 80s action movies, and I would have liked to have seen more. The creator of this did have sequels planned. The second movie was going to be an origin story for Dredd himself, which didn't get made, and the third movie was going to be a existential threat from the Dark Judges. But that was Pete Travis that did this movie. I thought he did an excellent job, and some people argue that all he did was redo the Raid in a Dredd skin. I don't know if that's true. I need to watch the Raid, but I enjoyed this movie a lot. And I do recommend it to you, Troy, if you want a good science fiction action movie. Yeah,
I would like to check it out. I've heard about it. I am interested. The thing that I figured, like I said, I'd seen the Stallone one, and after seeing the Stallone one, I was like, gosh, this kind of feels like a reskin of Demolition Man, So then I was like, you know what? I'm betting that they didn't really follow whatever comic book canon there was very well. So I'm like, yeah, I'm guessing this one is probably a better take on it. I don't know.
Here's what happened with me before the Stallone Dredd movie. I was trying to get into comic collecting, and what DC Comics at the time was doing, they were producing their own Judge Dredd comic. They got the rights from the the British comic company to do an American version, right? To do an American Judge Dredd comic. That was just more Judge Dredd stories done by American artists, and I was reading that for a bit, but then that kind of just, I think. It was like 4-issue arcs, and I think I was reading one of the arcs and it didn't get finished because they canceled the line. But
I hate when that happens.
And I think that happened after the Stallone movie didn't do so hot either, because I think they were expecting Judge Dredd to become a big hot commodity after the Stallone movie. I guess everybody was superheroed out after Batman Forever that summer. But this was the other big opportunity to get Dredd on the big screen. And I'll say this, it's a nice standalone movie. They don't have to make a sequel, but I would have liked to have seen these characters in another action movie again. But as it was a good movie. I've heard people argue, too, that Judge Anderson is the main character of this movie. I agree. I think she's the one that kind of... Because I remember the Red Letter Media had a review up where they were complaining that, well, we don't really get to see much of Dredd's character, all this, and I wanted to yell at them, said he wasn't the main character. It's Judge Anderson, the psychic cadet cop. She's the main character of this movie.
And
But
there's really, I would argue there is nothing wrong with, having a series, a franchise or whatever about a particular character, and then, having it focus on another new character from time to time.
yeah,
It's like, you know, I'm going to go back to all the talk I've been doing about Superman recently and saying, in his first movie, we wanted Superman and just about Superman. But if the second Superman movie was focused more on Supergirl and he took more of a back seat, that's okay if you're introducing a new character that way.
I assume that's what they're going to do with the Supergirl movie. Maybe Superman will have a cameo or something.
Don't know, but at least that. Well, I was going to say, if that's the case, at least that's going to be better than when Helen Slater, the best they could do was mention, "Oh yeah, Superman's my cousin," and you get to see a poster in somebody's room, with a
So
picture
bad.
I know it was.
I heard they couldn't. I heard there were trouble getting. I don't know if it was
Christopher Reeve didn't want to do it. Yeah, no, he was like, "No,
okay.
I'm out. I'm out."
Dredd had a production budget of $43 million and opening weekend of $13.3 million domestic, $28.1 million worldwide. So didn't get a sequel. They released it in September. Yeah, I remember at the time, I think it was more modestly budgeted. It wasn't one of these $100 million features. And I think they did that so they could do an R-rated Judge Dredd movie, whereas the Stallone one... No, the Stallone one was R-rated, wasn't it? As I recall, they still did R-rated blockbusters back then. I am going to say this, though. I did read a crossover Judge Dredd comic, which was a Batman Judge Dredd crossover comic.
I saw that. Yeah, I don't think I read it, but I saw that it existed, yeah.
And they have to end up working together in the comic, but they
Of
do
course.
not get along. And do you know why they don't get along? Batman is about justice.
Right.
Judge Dredd is about the law, and they are not the same thing.
No, they are not. That's true.
And I remembered reading an Origin Batman comic where Batman was taking, where Bruce Wayne was taking law classes in college, and he was arguing with the professor, and he's saying, "Look, Mr. Wayne, you're talking about justice, but I'm talking about the law. Those are two different things." And I'm like, "Yes," and I got that, and that's where he was sort of coming to the conclusion.
Well,
because I think he was looking into maybe becoming a lawyer or going to law enforcement.
Right. Yeah, there's been a lot of like what ifs that compares his, history and how he came about, as opposed to, for example, like Harvey Dent and so forth. And I mean, if you think about it, there's Harvey Dent, there's Commissioner Gordon, there's Batman, and they all have a different way of trying to get to the same thing, to do in their minds what they think is right, and I've said this many times. I do see this in social media, people arguing about the law being enforced, okay, and being anti-law enforcement. It's like, look, don't take it out on the law enforcement for enforcing the law. If you don't like the law, there are ways to change the law. You're focusing on the wrong thing.
Right.
Right.
And to be fair, he is looking out for the civilians that aren't breaking laws in this. He's not, well, he is kind of cold-blooded, but not completely, maybe. That's my point. Anyway, though, but I recommend...
Just in general, when it comes down to it, is it like, you're jaywalking, so he shoots you in the leg or something like that? Is that how that works?
Here's what happened. No, he won't do that. He'll just say you're going to spend a month in the ISO cubes, which I guess is a weird prison system. You're in an ISO cube for a month or something. Because he saw a vagrant lying outside the building, and like with a sign, need spared some change or something. But he had to go investigate the murder, so he pointed to the guy and he said, "Don't be here when we get out. When we come back." Yeah. All right. And of course they come out investigating the thing, and the guy's still there, and he's like, "Okay, you got a month in the ISO cube. I warned you." And I think the only reason he didn't even arrest the guy there is or put him in there is because he had the murder thing to go after. He just, he was actually, of course, that guy ended up getting crushed by the blast shutters coming down when Evil Mama closes the entire building. She's a scary villain in this, actually. She's like, she tells everyone in the apartment complex, "We have 2 judges in the building. You're going to kill them." And if you interfere, and my men are going to be out killing, stay out of our way. If you help the judges, you and your and the rest of your family are dead. If you interfere with us trying to kill these judges.
Yeah.
So I watch. Okay, go ahead.
Robert's Infinite Realm says, I vaguely remember Daredevil and Batman having a crossover, touching on that as well. Yeah, I could totally see that because
they would get along, though. I think
they would get along for the most part, but
yeah.
I do get the impression that Batman doesn't really work well with anybody. Let's be honest. Yes, he's Robin and stuff, but Robin, has to toe the line and do it the way Batman says.
Yeah. Exactly, but they're not so different, Daredevil and Batman, if you think about it. I mean, they have. I mean, Daredevil doesn't kill either, so I mean, they have that in common too. So yeah, all right, but that's Dredd. Recommend it. You and Netter should watch that sometime, but it's a good one. But
absolutely.
Now I did this because
you're making me watch right now.
We've gotten through almost all of the first season of the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon series.
Come on, Netter, that's a classic.
Yeah.
I remember. I mean, I could argue as a kid. I kind of no. I kind of said nope. I think, but I don't know. I mean, I should give it a chance. Oh, those are some of the grody criminals in the movie too. That's poor Judge Anderson. But let's see. Okay, but that's it. All right. Now we have news to cover tonight. Are we excited for the news?
Not really, but let's do it.
There's some interesting stuff tonight. It's not all gloom and doom. Finally, we actually have some Hollywood stuff to talk about too. There were a number of trailers that debuted this week. Dredd is one of the highest recommendations. Good intro to that world. I agree, Robert Zifneros. I think if you're unfamiliar with the Judge Dredd, watching Dredd the movie is a good introduction. Yeah, it's yeah. All right.
Man.
That's Connie Francis. I was surprised at this. You know her, right?
Absolutely. It's funny because younger Connie Francis looks a lot like my mom.
Oh wow, really? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Connie Francis, the immensely popular mid-century pop singer known for teary ballads exemplified by Who's Sorry Now and jaunty, infectious, near-novelty records Stupid and Vacation, died Wednesday. She was 87. Her statement was announced on Facebook by her publicist and longtime friend Ron Roberts. A cause was not disclosed, but Francis was recently hospitalized in Florida where she reported extreme pain after suffering a fractured hip. Oh, that's unfortunate. In today's post, Roberts writes, "It was with a heavy heart and extreme sadness that I inform you of the passing of my dear friend Connie Francis last night. I know that Connie would approve that her fans are among the first to learn of this sad news. More details will follow later." Francis' heyday was the late 1950s to mid-1960s when she scored 35 top 40 and 16 top 10 hits, placing 3 in the top spot. Everybody's Somebody's Fool, My Heart Has a Mind of Its Own, and Don't Break the Heart That Loves You. From 1960 to 65, she appeared in 4 lighthearted comedy films, beginning with spring break classic Where the Boys Are, named after her top 5 1961 hit. Among her best-known songs are Lipstick on Your Collar and its B-side Frankie, My Happiness Mama, Breaking in a Brand New Broken Heart, Secondhand Love, Never on Sunday and Vacation. Francis never scored a Grammy nomination, but she performed on the ceremony during her early 60s heyday. She also had a pair of top 10 LPDs in 1960 with Italian Favorites and more Italian Favorites. Never on Sunday peaked at number 11 the following year, and she also had a hit Christmas album in 1963. Her compilation disc from that year, The Very Best of Connie Francis, is certified gold. Okay, was she? Did you hear her in your household growing up?
Oh yeah. My mom had her albums. Absolutely, listened to her all the time. She was on a lot of the variety albums too that my mom had.
Okay. But rest in peace. Oh, I didn't know that Connie Francis died. Yeah, just this past week.
Yep.
All right, moving on to another
This
one.
This one kind of sideswiped you.
A little bit. I mean, to be fair, I mean, it's one of these things where I hadn't heard of David Kaff since Spinal Tap. Maybe he's been in other things, but David Kaff, best known for his role as keyboardist Fix Savage in the iconic film This Is Spinal Tap, has died. Kaff's band Mutual of Alameda's Wild Kingdom. What? I need to look for that band now. I'm sorry, that's kind of funny, don't you think?
Yeah, it kind of is.
Posted an announcement on Facebook saying that he died peacefully in his sleep, but no cause of death was given. The hard rock group said they were devastated by Calf's death, explaining that he was kind, quick-witted, and would always make people smile. Calf, real name David Caffanetti, launched his music career as a pioneering member of the British rock band Rarebird from 1969 to 1975. During this time, the group released 5 studio albums, and their single "Sympathy" rocketed up the charts, sold an estimated 1 million copies worldwide. Then Calf got his big break with the 1984 Rob Reiner-directed mockumentary "This Is Spinal Tap," where he was cast as Vic Savage, who played the keyboard in the fake English rock band. His character had some memorable lines in the movie, such as, "Quite exciting, this computer magic. Have a good time all the time." Even though Spinal Tap was a fictional band, Calf and the other actors played some live shows for the first year of the movie's release, even performing on Saturday Night Live. But then Calf left the band by year's end and never looked back, cutting all ties. Calf was 79. Well, to be fair, I think he realized it was probably over at that point. But yeah, rest in peace, though, and it's check out This Is Spinal Tap if you haven't seen it. I don't know if it's already played in theaters, but they said it was going to get a theatrical re-release this summer as like a special event. If you've not seen it, might be cool to see it on the big screen, and I'm sure there'll be a remastered Blu-ray of it coming out because I know the sequel's coming out at the end of summer. But rest in peace. Moving on to this is my Italian's not so good, but that does not look very good on this YouTube channel. So a YouTuber is in some trouble. Retro reviewer could face up to 3 years in jail over copyright.
Yeah.
Italian content creator Francesco Salasini, who owns the YouTube channel Once Were Nerd, says he is currently under investigation by Italian authorities for allegedly promoted piracy by advertising and Ann Burney game consoles. Ann Burnick is known for Ann Burnick, my mistake, is known for its retro handheld consoles that can emulate classic titles from Nintendo and Sony. However, the company often ships its product with micro SD cards that contain hundreds of copyrighted ROMs. This is definitely against the law and a form of piracy, but Salasini claims that he only reviewed the hardware and that no manufacturer sponsored his videos. He even went further and refrained from adding affiliate links to his content. Salasini is currently accused of violating Article 171 of the Italian copyright law, which metes out a maximum penalty of around 15,000 euro, around 17,000 US dollars, and 3 years jail time. At the moment, his case is still under investigation with the Italian Guardia di Finanza financial police seizing more than 30 consoles, including those from Ann Burnick, Trim UI, and PoKitty. The police also hold the creator's phone, as well as the transcript of his conversations with these gaming handheld makers. The initial investigation takes up to 6 months, after which the authorities will have to decide whether to drop the case or go forward with the criminal proceedings. But in the meantime, Salasini also runs the risk of having his channels taken down, even without definitive proof that he is in the wrong. Later goes on to say, Nintendo is known to be extremely protective of its intellectual property and is known to serve copyright strikes against YouTubers who emulate its games on their channels. Now, to be fair, I've not heard of this happening with this gentleman yet. The company has also taken thousands of Uzi emulator repos has also taken down thousands of Uzi emulator repos on GitHub and successfully shut down Ryu Jinx. At the moment, we don't know who filed the case against Salasini, but if Nintendo or Sony or both is behind this, then they're taking things up a notch with this potential case. That's what I'm curious.
Okay, Robert says, so he's reviewing a pirate thing. Is that what I'm hearing? That's not what I'm getting. Is let me say what it sounds like to me. You tell me which you think is right.
Yeah.
I think this would be like if back in the 80s I did an advertisement for VHS and then someone says VHS can be used to make copies of movies and therefore you need to go to jail. And it's like, I am not advocating you using it illegally. I'm just telling you about this product that in and of itself is not illegal. Is that what I'm getting?
Here's the analogy I would use. It's like, and also if the people that sent you the VCR to review on your channel also sent you a bunch of bootleg movies, like stuff they copied off TV, or maybe they even made direct copies of other VHS tapes. But he is not reviewing. I don't even know if he was even talking about the SD cards. some people online are saying that they kind of wish companies that made these little mini consoles would just knock it off and not give you the SD cards with all the ROMs on them. If people want to get their own ROMs, there are means of doing that on your own,
Do it
or you could do it
separately, yeah.
you can even do it legally by taking your own cartridges and using
Yeah.
devices to make ROMs off of, which I'm sorry, Nintendo and other companies, that is legal. You own the ROM, you can make a copy of it for personal use. You own the cartridge. And,
Yeah.
you know, like, let's say you want to put all your Game Boy collection on one little SD card. Who knows? I could do this myself. I have a big Game Boy Advance collection. I could get a thing to copy the ROMs with, put an SD card, and play it on one of these devices. I'm not taking them from the internet. I'm not getting them from weird sites. These are my own ROMs. It's my dream to actually do this with my Super Nintendo collection, is to get all the ROMs off the cartridges and put them on a single cartridge to stick in my... Because these are reproduction consoles. And I don't think that in of itself is illegal. I think the patents run out on these things, and if companies want to release them, so you can, I don't even think that's
Look,
not exactly what this
I
is.
honestly feel like they're, you know, what's that line from Star Wars? The more you tighten your grip, Tarkin, the more star systems will slip through your fingers.
Now,
and honestly, the more they go after people for this kind of stuff, the more people will start going, well, you know what? I'm just going to make my own machine, a la, you know, the Pooh Bear country, and and just you know, clone whatever you put out. It won't connect to the internet. You won't even know it, and I can continue playing whatever version I want forever.
but to be fair, I doubt this YouTuber is one. I don't think he's encouraging piracy. I don't think he's even showing these pirated games on his channel. I think he was just showing this is how this works, and if you have your own ROMs, you can copy them. I don't, and maybe they came with an SD card with ROMs on. He's just showing off the hardware. He's not distributing the ROMs himself.
Yeah, this is a huge overreach. Of course, this is Italian law, so...
And I'm wondering if Italian law is different, and part of it is...
No, it very much is. It's Benito, you know, may have been strung up by his heels, but his spirit is still alive and well in my ancestral country, just saying.
I just figured the Italians didn't get hung up on this stuff, but maybe I don't know them as well as I thought.
Yeah, they're not as unified as you think they are. It's like true. A bunch of little countries, almost like the United States in a lot of ways.
I see. Because this to me is a little ridiculous. You know, leave the man alone. He's not doing anything. Like, if you have a problem with the companies making these devices, you want to go after them, that's fine. He's just showing off hardware he legally purchased.
Yeah, you know, if you're going to go after the pirates, go after the pirate sites. Oh, well, by the way,
that's our next article. People get angry when Nintendo does this. Now, I'm gonna keep notice. I want to know who it is that it brought that attention to the Italian authorities with the guy. But anyway, go on. FBI is well-known Nintendo Switch game piracy site. One of the most popular sites for Nintendo Switch piracy has been taken down as part of an ongoing FBI investigation. As reported by Kotaku, NSW2U was known for hosting Switch ROMs, which could download to play on a hacked Switch or PC emulator capable of running them. At the time of writing, whether you enter the site's URL, you'll notice a confirming the seizure, which the FBI says is in accordance with a warrant issued by the United States District Court in Georgia. The notice also features a logo for the Fiscal Information Fiscal Information and Investigation Service, FIOD, which is a Dutch government agency that investigates financial crimes. Nintendo has been cracking down on piracy of its games for a number of years. Back in 2019, the company sued illegal ROM sharing site ROM Universe after it became aware it was offering unlimited downloads of new and old Nintendo games for an annual fee. Last year, it filed a lawsuit against streamer Every Game Guru, who is accused of broadcasting footage of pirated and, in many cases, unreleased Switch games, as well as providing illegal access to illegal ROMs. In March of 2024, the makers of popular Switch emulator Yuzu paid $2.4 million to settle charges filed by Nintendo. Nintendo's latest anti-piracy move was inserting a clause in an updated version of the Nintendo Switch user agreement that effectively enables it to brick your Switch if it runs illegitimate emulators of pirated games. The revised agreement came into effect just ahead of Switch 2 launch on June 5th. Yeah, they're really cracking down this stuff lately. It's kind of funny, like 20 years ago, I don't think they were caring as much about this. In fact, there was an often rumored that the version of Super Mario Brothers that you could buy off the Wii Virtual Console was actually one of these illegal ROMs that Nintendo just swiped and stuck it on their Virtual Console.
I would argue that's the other side of piracy. You know, you could be out there pirating, and doing whatever you want to do. But if the rights holder decides, Oh, I like that. We're going to release that as our own. What recourse do you have?
You have none. But I also had this point. I don't know why Nintendo at this point cares. How many times they want to sell Super Mario Brothers to you over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you buy a copy of Super Mario Brothers and you can have it play on your next console and next console, next console. Oftentimes you have to rebuy it again. It's not like
Yeah.
Steam where you buy it once and you can use it for
Right.
as many times as you want. So
Sometimes to the point where it's like, oh, I still have that game?
exactly. I'm waiting for Steam to come out with the Steam box. It's a rumor. Maybe that'll be my next gen console because this is just if all the consoles are going digital anyway, Steam does digital better than anybody. So why am I going with Sony or Nintendo
point.
at this point? But yeah, Lilo and Stitch movie surpassed $1 billion at box office. Interesting.
Yeah, we don't have an article about that.
But maybe we'll do a
we're
box
on
office
gaming right
update.
now.
What? Yeah, we are. Yeah. Anyway, though, but yeah, that's it. I don't know. I think this is I guess I want to say it's overreach, but I guess not according to the law it is, so they can do what they want. I'll say this: putting new Switch games on your site, though, you are kind of asking for trouble. It's one
Well,
thing
and I would argue this too. Does the article say where the servers were? If they're in the United States, yeah, maybe not such a great idea. Maybe you should offshore that kind of stuff. Not that I'm telling anyone how to do something. I'm just saying.
I don't know if
Doesn't make a
they
lot of
were
sense
or
to me.
not. I know that one guy that got arrested and owes Nintendo millions. I don't think that site was on the United States, but I could be wrong. If you don't own a game that you buy as a digital release, then pirating is illegal. You know, it's funny. I bought a lot
Yeah.
of Wii Virtual Console games, and my Wii got destroyed in the flood, so those games are now in the ether. I don't really have them anymore. I do still have the
Exactly.
ROMs somewhere on a thing, so maybe I could figure out a way to still retrieve those someday through not official means. But I don't know. Just dudes, just stop putting the Nintendo stuff on your sites because basically the whole site will get taken down if you do that. So just
And you know, I mean, that's fine. This falls under the same thing I said about the last one. The more you tighten your grip, the more star systems will slip through your fingers. The more you beat up on, you know, people that are they're getting so draconian. People are going, you know what? Screw it. I don't even want to play Nintendo games anymore. Just screw you and everyone you know. You know.
well, Geek Flag, be careful, Troy. They'll be coming for you next. If meaning they'll come after paying customers next, then that brings us to our next article.
That's true. That's true.
Nintendo bans Switch 2 owner after playing. Now we talked about this last week, but this is kind of an update. Nintendo doesn't want people to preserve old video games.
And
I
that's
don't
fine.
think they're wrong.
And then that means I also will not be interested in anything new anymore. And you will begin putting out your product, and less people will buy from you. And you know, too bad.
In a recent cautionary tale for Nintendo enthusiasts, a Switch 2 owner found their new console temporarily banned from online services after making legitimate
In
secondhand game.
fairness, it wasn't temporary at the beginning. It was not intended to be temporary. Yeah.
This event showcases the stringent anti-piracy measures implemented in Nintendo's latest hardware, raising questions about the secondhand market's reliability for backward compatible titles. Reddit user Demanthe detailed their experiences in a post on the R Switch subreddit, explaining that they acquired four used Switch 1 game cartridges from Facebook Marketplace. Upon inserting the cartridges into the Switch 2 and downloading routine patches, the console was flagged and banned from Nintendo's online services. This restriction prevented access to downloads, multiplayer features, and other connected functionalities. The ban was triggered almost immediately, highlighting the console's advanced detection capabilities. I think it's rather creepy. They were able to tell after someone put a copied version in one of those MiG switch things that will also get your console banned. Nintendo kept a record of that and then located the original cartridge it was copied from when this guy bought it used, and that also banned this other guy's Switch. How can it tell?
I know. That tells me they're watching you. That is incredibly invasive.
And I'm sorry, sometimes you don't have a choice about to buy a game used because you can't find the game new anymore. You know, but even if you wanted to buy it used, that's legal. You can buy. This was a thing years ago where they were really game companies were poo-pooing people buying used games, and I'm like, I'm sorry, that's legal.
Horror
They
King
can do
says,
that.
fun fact, Nintendo used to make playing cards and adult entertainment. Sometimes they would combine the two together. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried figuring out a way to make the playing cards disintegrate after 2 years, so you'd have to rebuy them.
In defense, I am going to say this.
There is no defense.
No, I'm
sorry.
going to defend
whatever you say.
defend Nintendo of old. That was the Yamauchi family. I don't know who's running Nintendo now. I don't believe it's the Yamauchi family. This is somebody else. This is not. Iwata died from
Friggin'
cancer.
Emperor Palpatine. That's who it is.
Well, it's somebody new because the last guy who ran the place died, and the previous guy Yamauchi he retired because he had gotten too old. But he was the terrifying leader of Nintendo back in the day. But I feel though. I feel like as a customer, I'm being targeted by them, and I'm not quite sure what's going on here.
I know. I know. It's like, why do I want to go into... It's like going into business with the Godfather. It's like, really? Is it really that important to you?
I get that they got angry a couple years ago because A Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was coming out and people were already playing it early because someone got their holds on a cartridge, someone must have leaked it from the factory, and people were already making copies of it online. And yeah, that's no good, and go after those people. That's fine, but I think now this is overreach, and it's
This is like, look what you made me do to you. This is how it's starting to come off.
Fortunately, the ban was not permanent. By contacting Nintendo support via live chat and the official website providing evidence of legitimate ownership of these used games. What if you bought it from your friend for $20 or something? I mean,
they want to make it so that it's non-transferable, so that you can't do that.
But this was an interesting part of this article. How Nintendo's anti-piracy system works. Nintendo's long been aggressive in combating piracy, but the Switch 2 introduces heightened scrutiny. Each game cartridge contains a unique identifier, allowing the company to track usage patterns. The cartridge data appears on multiple places simultaneously, such as a physical copy in one console and a dump ROM in another. Okay, so let's say you were playing the same game at the same time as somebody else. They can tell you're playing the same game at the same time as somebody else. That freaks me out.
Yeah, so what happens if, and I've had this happen to me, I'm playing it on my main PC and I'm having a problem with the modem or something, so I switch over to another computer and it says, nope, you can't do that. See?
Yeah.
I have real serious problems with that.
Yeah, this is not good. And the updated end-user licenses explicitly allow Nintendo to render services or even the device. They made you sign something in order for you to keep using the online services on Nintendo. Broader implications for the second-hand market. The incident sparked widespread warnings among gamers. Be cautious when buying used Switch games, especially from unverified sources like Marketplace or libraries. Libraries? I mean, personal libraries online? I don't think.
No, it means like if your library has games and loans them out, yeah, you're not going to be able to do that anymore either.
Oh, you mean like yeah,
like a public library?
Okay.
Yes.
Community members advise retaining receipts and listings for potential appeals, and some suggest sticking to digital purchases to avoid risks, even though we are huge proponents of physical media. If I'm being forced to just go digital, I might as well just go to Steam then. I don't understand this because I think they do digital.
That's exactly right. If you have to go to digital anyway, why are you bothering with a console at all?
They don't. Nintendo doesn't understand. People love the Switch because more than any of the other consoles, you could get physical copies of games on the Switch. Games you couldn't get physical on other consoles. You could get physical copies that you could hold on to. And, if you want to resell them or if you want to collect them, and they're there. And then they started this generation off with the game key card crap. And now this, I just... Yep. Plus, everything's more expensive now. And anyway... All right, time to move on to Microsoft, our other favorite company. Nintendo is run by its president, representative director, Shintaro Furukawa, has held this position since June 2018. Okay. He's new. Unfortunately, Iwata died. He died young, too. He younger than he should have. And I always respected Iwata because he knew how to code as well as be. He actually
Yeah.
made games on his own in the company before he married the daughter of the president and married into the company. But he passed away, unfortunately. Xbox graphics department head puts out cringe-worthy hiring posts with AI graphics. You like that?
This is I find this a little bit humorous to myself.
Xbox's principal development lead for its graphic department has put out a LinkedIn post announcing some new job opportunities. The catch: he used the cringy AI generated graphic to do so, drawing ire. Mike Matzell's weekend post calls for those experienced with device drivers, GPU performance, and or related validation or engineering system experience. The attached image shows a lady typing away on a computer with the text displayed on the back of the monitor. Brilliant. This caught traction online, as you can imagine. Response to this post are quite negative. Alexander Bertram Powell wrote, "Appreciate this preview of the care and attention to detail that make you a leader." Well, Danilo S followed it up with, "First layoffs, then post for hire with AI slop. Wonderful work, Xbox." This post came at a bad time, too. Earlier this month, Xbox cut a significant chunk of its workforce across various game developers such as ZeniMax, Online Studios, Rare, The Initiative, and more. It's also been reported Microsoft is pushing its remaining employees to use more AI at work in the wake of layoffs. As such, while a sizable chunk of the company has been let go, those remaining are left handling software that's largely yet to generate any provable increases in productivity or income. I guess they're talking about artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and it's getting, even the proponents for generative AI and stuff like that are saying, look, it's fine, it's a tool, just like when digital art became a thing. If you used to do 2D, cell animation, well, guess what? You need to learn a new tool to continue to do your craft. Well, now you're going to need to learn a new tool, but you still need editors. You still need proofreaders. I don't care if it's a robot doing it or a human doing it. Check it before you publish it, you dumbasses.
But it's green.
Yeah, it's a lot of green in that picture.
Because,
Yeah,
that's the Xbox color. Puke green. I'm kidding. It's just... It's a holdover. You know why it was called Xbox? That was a holdover from the whole everything's extreme era. Remember Extreme Sports?
Yeah.
Surge, Soda, Extreme Soda. Like everything was extreme back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And they just kind of never got rid of
And
that.
they used it so much it stopped having any kind of meaning. Just the way words work, people. Just remember that.
All right, moving on to... some new casting, some casting announcements for the new Legend of Zelda movie in production. Sort of another Nintendo news, except this is it's so
We're
weird
moving
Sony.
into cinema now, yeah.
It's so weird Sony is making a Nintendo movie.
Yeah, it is.
Strange.
Well, there is no Nintendo, movie.
No, they don't have movie studios. They have to go through other parties like Universal and now, I guess, Sony. Nintendo confirms actors to play Link and Zelda in live-action The Legend of Zelda film. Nintendo has confirmed the lead actors for the upcoming live-action Legend of Zelda movie. Zelda will be played by Bo Bragason and Link by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. The casting was announced on social media today in a statement from Nintendo legend Shigeru Miyamoto. He's the guy that made Donkey Kong, among other games, who said he was very much looking forward to seeing the pair in the series' iconic lead roles. Because, of course, Shigeru Miyamoto also made Super Mario Brothers and The Legend of Zelda games, too.
Yeah.
This is Miyamoto. Wrote Miyamoto, "I am pleased to announce that for the live-action film of The Legend of Zelda, Zelda will be played by Bo Bragson, Link played by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth's son. I'm very much looking forward to seeing..." Okay, well, this is what you just said. Do either of them look familiar? We've rounded up where else you might have seen both actors in the past, and our deeper dive in the background of Nintendo's new live-action stars. Bragason, 21, appeared in the Netflix fantasy adventure series Renegade Nell. Anybody watch that?
Nope, never heard of it.
As well as the BBC crime drama adaptation, The Jetty, which I did watch because Jenna Coleman was in it, and I do like Jenna Coleman, so I try to watch things she's in.
I'll tell you, I was going to say, these kids look adorable. I never would have guessed one of them was 21 and over. I would have taken them for 16.
I think Nintendo is going for them to look like older teenagers. I think that's what they want with these parts. Ainsworth is just age 16, has only a handful of roles by his name, though appeared on Netflix.
Okay, so he is 16. Okay.
He is 16, yeah. And she's 21. Today's image of the pair looks to feature the actors in some sort of costume for... Okay, well, I didn't use that image. I used different images. Okay, officially announced on November 23rd, Nintendo's live-action Legend of Zelda project is being produced by Miyamoto alongside Avi Arad, former CEO of Marvel Studios. Sony Pictures Entertainment will handle distribution in addition to co-financing the movie with Nintendo. Jurassic World's Derek Connolly is writing the screenplay, while Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes' Wes Bell will direct. Okay, so this is a major Hollywood production. They're going to want to get a lot of butts in seats.
I think deleted scenes comment. Welcome, by the way, deleted. And if you're watching on my channel and Netter's channel, after the stream tonight, stay with us. You will be redirected over to deleted scenes for reserved seats. His special guest writer Albert Lanier, who was on with Netter a few weeks back. We'll want you to check that out. But deleted scene says, I never thought, hooray, Zelda does not have a dick is something I would ever say. But here we are.
Yes, we'll get
that
to that
leads
story
into the
soon.
next article.
Might as well just get into it. Apparently, Renegade Nail was on Disney Plus. It was horrible. Thank you, Geek Play.
Okay.
Jenny was okay. To be fair, that was kind of a one and done for her being on that season, though, so I wouldn't expect her back. So this was a story that came out a few weeks ago. I purposely ignored it because I saw it for what it was at the time.
Right.
And we're going to get into this. This is from that Park Place, correct? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gender activists lash out over Hunter Schafer not being cast as Zelda in live-action Legend of Zelda film. Online discussions have heated up as gender activists express frustration following the casting reveal for Nintendo's live-action Legend of Zelda movie scheduled for May 7th, 2027. The announcement named Bo Bragason as Princess Zelda and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth as Link, putting an end to persistent rumors that Hunter Schafer, a biological male who identifies as female, would play the role. These rumors, which started circulating in May 2025, were later exposed by that Park Place as originating from a PR firm associated with Schafer and not from official sources at Nintendo or Sony Pictures. That's interesting because I was actually going to try to give Schafer the benefit of the doubt, but apparently Schafer's firm was involved with this. Despite the debunking, activists have reacted strongly, viewing the decision as a failure to embrace alternative casting choices they themselves would have preferred. The speculation began with leaks from industry insider Daniel Richtman, suggesting Schafer was in consideration for Zelda. Fans created art and petitions, but rumors soon clarified that the hype was manufactured by a PR agency connected to Schafer aimed at generating the buzz. That Park Place detailed this in an article on May 30th, 2025, labeling it as propaganda rather than genuine studio interest. Further updates noted that the casting calls targeted actors age 16 to 23. Now, that story came out a couple weeks later. And part of me wondered if that was Nintendo trying to cover their butts, basically, because Hunter Schafer is 26. Even so, the idea lingered, leading to divided opinions when the official cast was announced.
Well, I think what this really is this is the appropriate way to push back on this strong arming. Now let's face it, this isn't anything new. This idea of pushing a narrative to get your client considered for a role. They've been doing this for decades. But this is a little bit more insidious because now you're trying to leverage a very specific, very strong arming kind of demographic. And this is the appropriate way to deal with it. You just go, nope, we've decided who's playing it. This is who's playing it. We have nothing to say about, whatever.
I have a question just based on earlier articles. Do you think you can strong arm Nintendo?
Yeah, good point.
No,
That's
these are not
point.
And to be fair, like I said, the mood at Nintendo was nicer years ago. Reggie Fils-Aimé, when they were asking him why doesn't Nintendo, well, we don't really get involved in politics. This was the guy who used to run Nintendo
Well,
Power
and
Rangers.
I would argue that these activists think they're strong arming Sony, and they're not. Sony's like, well, if we're gonna make this movie, we got to do what Nintendo tells us to do. So
But apparently, there was also an outrage thing happening. Gender activists have criticized the choice, arguing it overlooks Schaefer's visual similarities, certain depictions of Zelda, such as Twilight Princess. Okay, I want to point something else too. Zelda, I should have I should have included other pictures. Princess Zelda looks different in almost every game she's in because I think these are descendants of the original of Princess Zelda, and they're descendants of Link, and they're not always going to look like the prior Link. They're going to look different. So,
yeah,
maybe Schaefer does have a similarity to one of the Princess Zeldas, but that may not even be what Nintendo is going for. They're probably going for a completely new Link and a completely new Zelda, because this will probably be a movie that's not even an adaptation of one of the other games. It's probably gonna be its own thing.
I think what they've got to consider, and I think this is true for all casting, is what story or stories are you planning to tell? Over how long a period of time? Is age of the characters going to be relevant and cast accordingly? For example, I'd say they've done a great job with, for example, what's the kid's name who they got playing Spider-Man?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, yeah. I mean, he's got that Michael J. Fox thing going on, where he could play a teenager for 20 years and get away with it.
Yeah,
Not everyone can do that.
And I have no idea what Nintendo is even planning with this Legend of Zelda movie.
Exactly.
Are they planning this to be a part one of a trilogy? Is it going to be a standalone feature? I have no idea.
Is the later stories going to involve, like, this would be on brand for Zelda? Is there going to be some time travel involved where the actor's got to play different ages of himself?
Possibly. It's difficult to tell, because I know with Ocarina of Time, it's famous how you start out as young Link, like he's like 9 or 10 years old, and then he goes to grab the Master Sword from the Temple of Time, and I guess the sages in there say you can't take this sword yet, you're not old enough, and they hold you in place, and then it's like 10 years later and they let you go, and now you're like 18, and it's like, but by then the bad guy conquered the world, and then you have to use time travel to go back and forth in time to kind of reset things and set things up in the past that will help in the future. And
the Horror King is suggesting, if you're going to make a movie for Legend of Zelda, I would suggest going back to the first video game, make that into a movie. That really is, let's face it, the reason you are making video game adaptations is because you've created a world and you've created a narrative already in these video games that people just want turned into a movie. Now, this is less true with things like Zelda and whatnot, what I'm about to say, and that's that some of these games today, you could almost make and some YouTubers do this, make movies out of the cutscenes of these games.
Yeah.
And the action stuff, you playing it, you just fill that in to lead from one clip scene to another. And I think a lot of gamers are going, just make that movie. Just reproduce it. And,
It's tricky because, let me just read this comment real quick. I'm of the, excuse me, Princess generation. Heck, I have a mug showing exactly that. That was the Legend of Zelda cartoon show from the 80s. Yeah. That was, I think the writers didn't have much to work with, and they're like, let's make it like Moonlighting. But to be fair, in the games, it's later established that Link and Princess Zelda do not get romantically involved. That's not right. It's hard to explain. They tend not to get romantically involved. It's more like he's the knight and she's the royalty. Do you understand?
Right.
And he's there to protect the realm, and Zelda's doing her own things to protect the realm. And I often got hinted at that there were other love interests for Links in those Zelda games, like the Ocarina of Time. There was the girl in your town that seemed to be upset when you were leaving and stuff. I thought that she was going to be the match for him, but I'm trying to think though. Here's the thing with the Zelda games though. They've gone back and forth between either a cartoony style or a realistic style for the Zelda games. Like, if you go back to the GameCube era, Wind Waker was a full-on Toon Link where it looked like a cartoon. They used cell shading, and there was a big backlash to that. So then they did a more, I want to say, like, realistic of the era Zelda game where it looked like more like the other games of the period. What they've done in recent years is they've tried going in between those two. Kind of giving it a comic booky look or like a cell shaded look, but not as cartoony. Do you understand? Right. So,
no,
like
absolutely.
with Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess, so more like a, I don't even want to say like an anime, but like more like a, well, something like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, KeyX post capturing Zelda Backlash. Yikes, that got nasty here. Still no Hunter Schafer is unfortunate. Why is Hunter Schafer? Literally don't piss me off, Nintendo. Yikes. Hunter Schafer Zelda, I will avenge you. A Valve continues support for the idea. In conclusion, despite online speculation which turned out to be manufactured by PR firm, Hunter Schafer will not be appearing in the Legend of Zelda film. So yeah. You can check out the Midnight's Edge video. In fact, I might try to post that in the chat here. Can I do that?
Oh, I can do that for you.
You want to do that? Okay.
I'll do it for you. Don't worry about it.
Look, I am going to say one thing about this movie, too. Nintendo's goal is to make as much money off of this movie as possible. They're heavily investing in this movie themselves. They want butts and seats, people of all political persuasions sitting in those aisles. All right?
Yeah.
And they can't mess this up. For what it's worth, I watched The Jedi. It was fine. The character that the actress they cast played is rather obnoxious on that show, but she was just playing a delinquent teenage role in that, of someone who might have disappeared. And I know they're, so moving on.
So I just dropped it. This is the link to a great commentary by Midnight's Edge on this particular topic.
Yeah, on the Zelda topic. So yeah, be sure to check out Midnight's Edge video. I watched it as well. But yeah, I saw that for what it was. It was the rumor mill, and I wasn't going to address it until official word came out from Nintendo.
Right.
Because part of me thought that what they wanted me to do was, I felt like it was another one of these manipulations where they want to be yelling about the casting and whatnot. I'm like, until I get official word, I'm not commenting on the casting at all. Friday the 13th, you like that, huh? Apparently, I think that's an actual board for an actual Camp Crystal Lake. Did you know that?
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Actually, I think you're right. Is that, or is that a fan made thing at the
maybe it's a fan made
location?
thing. You're right. Maybe it's a fan made.
It could be. It could go either way. I don't know.
But apparently there is a Friday the 13th prequel series, Crystal Lake, and cast members have been announced. Peacock's upcoming Friday the 13th prequel series has added 5 recurring guest stars. Now set to appear in the series titled Crystal Lake are Callum Vinson of Chucky and Long Bright River, Nick Corleone, Warrior, Joy Soprano, Fleischman is in Trouble, Best Foot Forward, Daniel Koch, director from Director Scott and Phoenix, Parnevik, Bel Air, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Vinson will play a young Jason Voorhees, appearing alongside previously announced lead Linda Cardellini, who will play Jason's mother, Pamela. Wow. Linda Cardellini?
Wow.
Is that who I'm thinking of? The one who was on Freaks and Geeks?
Yes.
Oh,
the one that played Velma originally.
Yes, the
really
Velma. The one who was getting all squirrely. Yes.
She was also, wasn't she Hawkeye's wife in the Marvel?
In the Avengers movie,
She is such a babe, yes.
I wonder if they're going to make her all frumpy for this show. They probably will.
Maybe not initially. Look, this is probably, my gut instinct on this is they're going for a Bates Motel vibe here, where you start out with these younger characters knowing what they're leading up to, you know? Because keep in mind, she's perfect age for this. Because then you got to jump ahead a number of years to when they reopen if you're thinking about the very first movie. After her son dies, you jump ahead a number of years. And you end up with, that first movie, and she's older, and yes, maybe a little frumpier and whatnot. But let's be honest though, she's 50 years old now. She was born in 75.
Right.
So, I mean, she looks amazing for her age, but yeah, this is definitely age appropriate, let's say.
I don't know. This could be interesting. I wonder if it's one of these things where they don't have the rights to use the hockey mask, but they can do a prequel series. Like,
Absolutely.
is this one of these things where like the rights are still caught up in limbo? Have they sorted all that out? But I guess you don't need that if you're doing a prequel.
No, I had heard that. Well, I don't know, because there's a lot of rights related here. You know who's really the expert on this in our sphere is Tom Connors. He knows.
Okay.
He's the person. He and probably Greg from Fanzine. They know about this stuff. But I do know that the rights about different stories are all mixed up. And guys, this is another problem. I've talked about this. I've talked about it specifically about Star Trek and some other things that, we get upset. Well, actually, you could even do the same thing with Judge Dredd. We were just talking about tonight. Let's keep it on the topic for tonight. This new Judge Dredd, there's a lot of people that want, and we'll get to it in an article we got coming up tonight. A lot of people want Urban to be recast as Judge Dredd, which they could do, but this will not be a sequel to the previous film. Reason being, rights related. It's a different film company, so it can't be a direct sequel. So you always have these kinds of issues. This is a dumb idea. Camp Crystal Lake, a prequel. Jason's mother didn't start killing. No, but again, I would say look back at
Bates Motel.
Look at Bates Motel. Yeah, it wasn't about the events of the movie and after. It's what led up to it.
Well,
and there could be interesting stories to tell there. Now, it could be crap. Don't get me wrong. This could be a stupid, pointless, they didn't think it through money grab. But it could also be like Bates Motel, where it's like, wow, this is actually an interesting take on this.
My issue with Bates Motel was when they actually went into the original novel and the original book storyline. I thought it was great up until then, and they didn't tell that as well. And I wasn't even against them, because I'm like, okay, well, I don't think it's unheard of that they could eventually lead into Marion Crane with what's going on here, but I just didn't like how they handled it. I thought it was kind of...
Yeah, I agree with you. When they should have either stopped sooner or been really...
They should have stopped sooner.
Or they should have been really, really sharp and clever about the way they got into the Marion Crane stuff. They should not have done the race swap. They should not have... They were already operating at a disadvantage because it's taking place in a different time period. Change as little as you possibly can.
I think that what Bates Motel was when it started out was, it reminded me a lot of like... It gave the feeling of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Like, this is all taking place in a Hitchcock world. So while you still have a young Norman Bates, all this other weird stuff is going on around, and things you might have seen in other Hitchcock movies or episodes of the show, like a lot of other shady characters on the show. It had that whole Hitchcock vibe on it. So I thought it actually caught that well. At least the first couple seasons, I thought it was really well. Like, there was this...
other thing, I was going to say, the other thing too is, one of the things we always say about prequels is, don't do a prequel. We all know where it's leading up to. But if you do a story that's compelling and it almost relies on people knowing where things are going, then maybe it's worthwhile to do a prequel. I would argue that, for example, George Lucas's prequels failed in that regard, because it's almost, there's a lot of things in it that George was like, George, did you forget what you actually put in those movies? You missed a lot of stuff here. But I felt that Bates Motel did a great job of counting on you knowing what happens in Psycho. We're going to lead you up to that. And every step of the way, if there's a subversion, you're going to go, oh, that's a cool subversion. but you're expecting there not to be any of those and go along for the ride. And that's like you said, Boomer, up to the point where they got to where the movie starts, they were doing great.
Yeah.
You know?
And this just sounds like a cash grab. Like the original Friday, like the original Friday 13th. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, exactly. It might be. We'll see. I don't see this as a bad thing. And going back to the whole rights-related issue, that is such a cluster F. This is almost the only way you can continue.
Hey, this is Paramount again, isn't it?
Is it? It might be.
Well, Peacock is making the show, but Paramount, well, I guess Paramount was just the distributor of the movies. Because I don't know.
So what you really need is, if you're going to do a, in quotes, reboot, and this is kind of how I feel too about Highlander. Highlander, with a second film you're supposed to ignore happened, a third movie that you can kind of squint and tilt your head and say kind of worked. Then you got to try to work the series in and make it all fit within the span of the first movie and stuff.
Yep.
It doesn't quite work. You want it to work. It almost works, but it doesn't quite work. So if you're going to reboot it, you go back to the beginning and go, okay, let's take everything that we liked. We'll ignore the Zeist stuff. Probably ignore Mario Van Peebles, and all of that. We'll go back and tell the narrative from the beginning. I liked it too. It kind of doesn't hurt anything, but it's kind of unnecessary. It was in the era when they really didn't know what else they were going to do with it. It's like it was a wink and a nod. Just forget that second movie happened, but then the series comes along. And it's like, now where are they going with it?
Could the series have just taken place in its own continuity?
It could, except that they bring in Adrian Lambert in recurring
okay, well, I don't know then. Okay, because it could have been... They probably just should have cast instead of having him be Connor McLeod instead of Duncan McLeod, and just had it been, this is a series version of what you saw in the movies, but oh well.
There was a cartoon series too that had a different McLeod. That was
Quentin McLeod. I watched that cartoon series. Highlander fans hate that cartoon series, but I kind of enjoyed it. Here's what was. You know what? Let's not get off on a tangent. We'll save that for another time. Henry Cavill's Highlander will not be a reboot; it'll be a remake. I've been meaning to. I keep seeing those articles, and I forget to put them in the notes. We got to talk about that next week.
Once again, you also have to remember how the term reboot is used. A reboot is a general term. A remake is a reboot, but not all reboots are remakes.
Like Scream.
Like cognac. Okay, Nate?
Cognac.
Anyway, let's move on.
Moving on to... business news. Yay. Paramount bidder Skydance plays Patriot card and push for deal. The head of entertainment global Skydance poised to take over media conglomerate Paramount Global told federal officials he is pursuing a focus on American storytelling while touting new unbiased editorial direction for CBS News. David Ellison, Skydance's CEO, met with Federal Communications Chairman Brendan Carr to seek approval for his firm's long-in-the-making merger with Paramount, according to a letter from Skydance lawyer, including in a federal filing. The transaction has Royal Paramount subsidiary CBS News and its longtime crown jewel 60 Minutes amid fights over its editorial independence. Ellison is the son of tech billionaire Larry Ellison, a major supporter of President Donald Trump. David Ellison and Skydance's general counsel said they expressed their commitment to embracing diverse viewpoints that reflect the varied ideological perspectives of American viewers. According to the filing, they also addressed concerns about potential Chinese influence, saying that China-based tech giant Tencent, which holds a stake in Skydance, will own only a non-voting passive interest in any new version of Paramount of less than 5%. Paramount also owns Comedy Central and its namesake movie studio, among other media entities declined to comment. Okay. Since Skydance announced its intention to merge Paramount in an $8 billion transaction. A year ago, the deal has faced multiple delays, first under outgoing Biden administration, then under Trump. The president accused CBS News marquee program 6 minutes. Yeah, we know the Kamala Harris thing, but
right. So I do want to point out that, unfortunately, because this is a mainstream media outlet, this is NBC, right? There's very clear bias here, so you have to try and read through the bias to get the actual truth behind it. Okay, and so what they're basically getting at is they don't like the fact that Skydance is coming in and saying, you know what, we see which way the wind is blowing. We're going to try and pull back the bias. We're going to try and be even-handed, with things like reporting and whatnot. And NBC sees this as, oh, you're waving the flag of patriotism and you're bowing down to the current administration. It's like, no, we're running a business here. You should try it.
yeah, they need to make some money.
Yeah.
They
We will still be here when you go out of business. Just saying.
Okay, so I'm hoping Paramount will get it together and put Star Trek on the shelf for a while. Maybe remaster Deep Space Nine, huh? HD
Yeah.
remastered Deep
So
Space
this
Nine.
is what I've been predicting for a while, folks, and I'm not the only one. There's other YouTubers out there speculating this, and this goes back to exactly what I was just talking about with Friday the 13th and with Highlander and all these other things. You've got all these rights tied up. Who owns the rights to different things? And you may want them to continue this storyline or fix that storyline or, remove this from canon or that from canon. Sometimes there is no choice, legally speaking. The rights holders own the rights, and whoever is doing the thing now can't even touch any of that. And if Skydance does not renew a contract with Kurtzman, all that Kurtzman stuff goes away. It does. It's not even a choice. Unless they're willing to pay out big bucks and funnel money back to Kurtzman again. Star Trek Discovery, Strange New Worlds, even your Picard series, even if you liked it, all of it becomes non-canon. And they have to do something else. Whether they change history or jump ahead and pretend none of that happens and never touch it, go back and do prequels that overwrite it. They have no choice if that's what happens. We will see.
Well, maybe we'll, get maybe we won't have to worry about apologizing Picard anymore, right? Where he's always apologizing for himself.
Or, well, now it's Robot Picard. Picard died. He's a robot now.
You're not supposed to remember that. You're supposed to ignore that part. Just ignore that. Just ignore the fact that I don't want to think about it. Let's move on. And it's Android, by the way.
Whatever.
Carl Urban news.
Going off script though, and behind the scenes, technically, what killed Picard was the coof. If you want to get into how season 2 and 3 were filmed and came about, so just
right. It's funny. I don't typically do the Mortal Kombat movie news. I still have to watch the first movie in this new series, but this trailer made me want to watch the prior
there
movie.
You go.
I really like the trailer to this movie. Mortal Kombat 2's first trailer offers a look at Carl Urban as Johnny Cage. So this trailer is wonderful because it starts out, there's like a washed up, he's like an old action star, which isn't getting parts anymore. And, I really loved your movie, Citizen Cage. I think they should reboot it, though, or remake it or something. And he's like... Anyway, too little, too late. It's canon. It's canon in Kurtzman Trek, Jessica Hardo. Kurtzman Trek will be unwritten out.
Well, I mean, that's like saying the Snyderverse is canon. No.
What's canon within the Snyderverse?
It is not. It's not canon with the Gunverse, and it's not canon with the comics. These things are separate entities owned by different intellectual property rights.
To be fair, I think that's what Jessica Hardo meant, though. I think he was referring to just how it wasn't the thing.
Oh, I see.
Anyway, though, but look, you have Carl Urban as Johnny Cage, and it's neat because they're, you know, I'll read the article. I think it looks interesting. Warner Brothers has unveiled the first trailer for Mortal Kombat 2, which is slated for release in theaters on October 24th. A New Line's follow-up to its hit 2021 action-adventure Mortal Kombat, based on the blockbuster video game franchise, is created by Ed Boon and John Tobias, fan-favorite champion fighters from the games. Now joined by martial artist Johnny Cage, Carl Urban, are pitted against one another in the ultimate no-holds-barred, gory battle to defeat the dark rule of Shao Kahn, that threatens the very existence of the Earth realm and its defenders. Louis Tan led the first film as Cole Young, an MMA fighter facing off against the Outworld enemies in a high-stake battle for the universe. In addition to Tan, returning cast includes Jessica McNamee as Sonya Blade, Josh Lawson as Kano, Tanoba Asano as Lord Raiden, Mechhead Brooks as Jax, Ludi Lin as Liu Kang, Chen Han as Sang Sung, Joe Taslim as Bihan, and Sub-Zero Hiroki Sanada. Hiroki Sanada as Hanzo Hasashi and Scorp. Sorry, the article was confusing. It's and it's as's.
Again, we need people to edit before they publish, for crying out loud.
Anyway, the point is, though, this movie actually looks like a lot of fun. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I like Carl Urban.
So
I like the idea of an older, washed-up Johnny Cage being thrown.
I never thought about the character of Johnny Cage in this way before, but in a way, it's almost like Tim Allen's character from Galaxy Quest, right?
Yes.
The actor who gets pulled into this galactic.
Oh, interesting. That might be what's going on here. Yeah.
You know, and I think that really is the storyline that's implied by, you know, the game, and I never, you know, because all these characters have backstories and stuff. I never really thought about that before.
Well, I know in the original movie, and I think even in the games, I think Johnny Cage's big problem was he was like a Bruce Lee type actor, and they always, you can't do your own moves, and you can't do this, you're not a real martial artist. So he entered the tournament to prove himself that, yes, I am an actual martial artist, I can do the others. In this, but what you're saying, though, that's what it feels like in this trailer, though, like he's being sucked into this. And it's kind of funny because he's like, oh, come on, wait a minute, they're killing people. There got to be rules against that sort of thing. He says, it's called Mortal Kombat. That's what she says. You know?
Exactly.
How did Kano come back to life, or should I ask? Well, I guess he was in the original movie, and I guess he got executed. I don't know. Maybe it's magic. He is a cyborg. Maybe they were able to repair him, so I don't know. But anyway, I need to watch the original Mortal Kombat though before I watch this. But it looks fun. I'll say this: it looks fun. So
imagine that.
It is what they should have released in 2020, not the train wreck pushed out then. Well, I'll say this. I'm just going by what I saw in the trailer. It looked like a fun action-adventure movie, and I like Carl Urban, and I figured I'd bring it up because I also did Dredd earlier, so I thought that kind of tied into the Carl Urban news. And we're going to have some Judge Dredd news in a little bit, too, but before that, we have another movie announcement. The new trailer for Tron Ares released this week. AI runs amok in an allegory for our times. Ahead of the movie's big splash at San Diego Comic-Con next week in Hall H, Disney has dropped the official trailer for Tron Ares, its reboot of the classic 1980s live-action trapped in a video game movie. But considering the Joaquin Ronning directed movie an allegory for current days, a new poster also dropped today. See it below the So much talk of AI and big tech today, explains Evan Peters, Julian Dillinger, a corporate type who doesn't seem to have a hippie agenda. Virtual worlds, what are they going to look like? When will we get there? He asks in the trailer. They are coming here. That kingdom come is in the form of the ultimate soldier, that being Ares, Oscar-winning Jared Leto, who has come to Earth all ablaze in red neon lights and the floating upside-down Tron thingy. I don't know what it's called. It's a ship, not Tron thingy. These shooting lasers are splicing this and that and forming all sorts of light cycle pathways. Seriously, it looks like a lot of fun, and we're hoping for the laser light show in Hall H that's shown at Disney's CinemaCon presentation. Along for the ride, living in a spiritual matrix, is Jeff Bridges, Kevin Flynn, the original computer program protagonist who got stuck in the video game in the original Tron. Yeah, I was watching a video on this, and they pointed out that Kevin Flynn in this movie, we don't exactly know what he is, because you can actually see through him. Like, he's almost like an apparition.
But we also don't know how much he's going to be in the thing. We might just be seeing one scene,
Like a cameo.
and that could be a hologram. It could be him communicating with someone else, and he is elsewhere. He could be dead and alive in the machine or something. It could be a lot of different, possibilities.
So again, trailer didn't look bad. It is Disney though, so I guess I have to temper my expectations, but maybe they don't have to screw up their own thing. Geek Flag Nano says Johnny Cage was really supposed to be a cross between Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee, with the arrogance of a WWE wrestler. That's interesting. Okay, that makes sense to me. All right,
it's called a recognizer. Is that right, Kolchak? And welcome, by the way.
Maybe that's what it's called. Yeah, it sounds like that's what it should be called. So I'm gonna go with that.
Sure.
But I don't know. I think the set it looks good, and it's interesting that's taking place in our world at night.
Mm-hmm.
So it still gives off that grid-like look.
Right.
But,
yeah.
He's a digital force ghost. I guess so. Yeah.
Digital force ghost. He may be absolutely right on that point. Yeah.
Please no. Okay.
So we got the Night Stalker in Boomer's chat?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Kolchak. Okay, welcome.
Yes, Kolchak. That was the Night Stalker.
That's right.
And no Bruce Boxleitner, that sucks. Yeah, people are not happy about that. I think he's not coming back, he said. He was getting angry that they were taking so long with the sequel to Tron Legacy, and they also canceled Tron Uprising. And
yeah.
And
I kind of don't blame him for that. I dig it. I really do.
Welcome, Marc Malnekoff.
Hey, Mark.
Oh, hey, Mark.
Oh, hey, Mark. Yeah, exactly.
The lithium mines of Repente.
Yep.
Taika Waititi is in the news again.
Oh God, this guy
tackling a Judge Dredd movie. You know what my response was in the chat, right?
Mr. I'll destroy your mythology in a minute.
He got me angry when he made a comment that he'd never read a Thor comic. He picked up a Thor comic, nope, and he just kind of threw it away. And it's like, you're the guy directing 2 Thor movies, and you wouldn't even read a Thor comic, and you're dismissing it like that. I don't know.
The arrogance of these people is just flippin' ridiculous.
Waititi, the Thor Ragnarok and Jojo Rabbit filmmaker. Oh, well, he's also the Thor Love and Thunder filmmaker, but you don't bring that up, do you? Is attached to direct a new feature film take on Dredd, the popular and violent British comic book character. Drew Pearce, the scribe known for his action movie-filled resume thanks to titles such as Fall Guy and Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, is attached to write the script. Producers include Dredd rights holders Chris Kingsley, Jason Kingsley, and Ben Smith of Rebellion Productions, Roy Lee of Vertigo Entertainment, Jeremy Platt, Natalie Viscuso, and Pierce. Sources say Pierce and Waititi both grew up with the books and are friends who have been trying to find a project to work on together for years. Created in the late 1970s by writer John Wagner and artist Carlos Ezquerra, Dredd debuted in the pages of Weekly British Anthology 2000 AD. He is a police officer in the bleak future metropolis of Mega City 1, part of the law enforcement corps that empowers officers to be judge, jury, and executioner. The character and his stories were a satire on the judicial system, taken to the extreme. Dredd proved hugely popular, engendering several more comics and comic strips, video and board games, books, and even postage stamps in the United Kingdom. It is said that over 100 million comics and graphic novels have been sold. Very popular British comic book. The character was given the glossy Hollywood treatment in 1995 with a big-budget adaptation starring Sylvester Stallone. It was poorly received. More warmly was the reception of Dredd, a 2012 adaptation that starred Carl Urban with a script by Alex Garland, the writer behind 28 Days Later, who also wrote and directed Civil War. The log line is being kept under the visor, but the pitch is said to take inspiration more from the comics than the previous screen iterations, leaning into the world building and dark humor. It is also meant to be a fun sci-fi blockbuster that speaks to this moment in culture. The desire is to see a movie to launch a Dredd universe that could be explored with additional movies and shows across various platforms. Stop! Just make a single good movie.
Yeah,
Stop
and
thinking everything can be an expanded universe. Stop it.
Jesse Guajardo made exactly that point. He said, "Age of Boomer, this guy is responsible for making bad movies." Look, you don't know what the movie's going to be like, but you can look at a filmmaker's past resume and say, you know what? I haven't liked any movie he's done, So screw him. I don't want to see this.
Look, my response was no, 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 no,
Right.
no. That was what I said in the chat. I was not happy when I heard this news. Anyone, but why him? He had done the Apple version of that. They made a Time Bennett TV show on Apple TV Plus, which I'm sure you and nobody else watched. But of course, who's going to play the Supreme Being in a Time Bennett TV show directed by Taika Waititi? Who do you think played the Supreme Being?
He did.
Of course he did. To be funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I didn't even know this thing existed, and I knew where you were going with that.
No, well, forget it. It's on Apple, so nobody watched it. But
right, exactly.
speaking of shows I hope people are watching, but again, it's still stuck on a streaming service. Tulsa King spinoff, Nola King starring Samuel L. Jackson, ordered to series at Paramount. Those two names have studio heads and executives sitting up this week as one of the hottest packages of the year. It's the Hollywood marketplace.
Mm.
Give me one moment here. Hold on. Entertain the chat for a second. Hold on.
Okay.
For some reason, I copied.
Hello.
There we go. Okay.
Is this a scene from Tulsa King?
Here's the problem with this: the season hasn't aired yet.
Oh, okay.
That he's going to be on, because he was not on the prior season. Okay, let me read the article now. Sorry, I posted notes from the Dredd article again in there. I had like the first part of the Tulsa King, and then everything else was Dredd again. Okay, Variety originally reported on the series in June, with Jackson set to first appear in the upcoming third season of Tulsa King before moving over to his own series. That's kind of a spoiler, which means he'll survive season 3 of Tulsa King. He's going to get his own season.
True. But then again, if you this isn't a big spoiler, because this is the kind of thing where how many times have they done backdoor pilots in other series, and it's like, that's what they're doing as they're doing it,
Maybe. Paramount has now officially confirmed plot details for Nola King, with the official tagline stating, Nola King follows Russell Lee Washington Jr., who, after befriending Dwight Manfredi, played by Sylvester Stallone, and Washington Jr. is played by Samuel L. Jackson, during a 10-year stint in federal prison, is sent to Tulsa by New York's Renzetti crime family to take Dwight out once and for all. Inspired by what Dwight created in Tulsa and impressed with the possibilities of second chances, Washington returns to Nolans, the home he abandoned 40 years ago, to rekindle his relationship with his family, friends, and to take control of the city he left behind. In doing so, he incurs the wrath of his former employers in New York, makes himself vulnerable to old Nola foes, both criminal and cop. Interesting. So, looks like he's going to be setting up his own organization in Nolans, much to the New York Mafia's anger. That's what it sounds like. Tulsa King is stated to premiere in September on Paramount Plus, with Nola King reportedly planned to be shooting in early 2026. So, I mean, I'll check it out if it's the same quality as Tulsa King. I'll give it a look. I mean, yeah. So yeah. You like Samuel L. Jackson, right?
For the most part. I mean, I know Netta really doesn't, because she can't separate him from his Nick Fury role.
Nick Fury
he
thing.
He ruined Coulson's cards.
Yeah, she won't get past that, which is probably for the best, because there hasn't been very many good movies since then in that series, so better to stay back there.
HMR, did you hear about how Cartoon Network got SpongeBob through Paramount and South Korea TV? Really? I didn't know anything about that. I got to ask, what movies does this guy make? Because whatever it is, it's not comic book adaptation, not adaptation. Are you talking about...
He's talking about Taika Waititi, so...
He did the Thor movies. To be fair, at the time I found Ragnarok funny. I mean, I didn't hate it, though. I did notice, though, that they completely threw out the Thor 3 plot that they had previewed in Avengers Age of Ultron. They did this whole setup for a Thor plot they never ended up doing.
Look, he was on that whole hump of bringing it down. This was the beginning of the downfall of the MCU.
What people don't get to, and I think the executives, the high, don't understand that Thor, for a lot of people, Thor is not really comic relief. He's their favorite Avenger. A lot of people like Thor. I mean, yes.
Yeah, they people don't realize how much they basically Jake Skywalkered him. They turned him from someone who, is supposed to talk with, an eloquence and an old world style and a regalness, and turned him into a goofy buffoon.
Oh, and they ruined Nick Fury with Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion was so bad.
I never even saw the damn thing.
No,
never even saw the damn thing. Don't care. Because I certainly didn't care about the character after Captain Man-Hater.
People said they did things in that which screwed with MCU canon, like the fact that apparently the character is War Machine. Is that Brody?
This is the worst problem.
Yeah.
You know, you got Taika Waititi saying he's not reading comic books and whatnot, and he's not the only one. None of these effers do. But they're not even watching the other movies in the series that are connected to this. They don't even have a canon within their own damn movies.
Yeah. Continuities, they don't care about continuity, but if you're wasting your time watching, not wasting, but if you're investing your time.
Here the fans are saying stick to the source material. They can't even stick to the last damn movie.
Moving on to other television.
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
I mean, the kid looks the part, let's be honest.
Hashtag not my Harry Potter. Let's harass this little kid. No, I'm kidding.
Well, no, I am not going to be watching this damn thing. I will not tolerate some of the other casting.
Right.
But this kid does look good. I will admit that.
Hogwarts has reopened for a new term. HBO's Harry Potter TV series, the long-awaited, much-hyped return to J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World, has officially started production at Warner Brothers Studios Leavesden in the United Kingdom, almost 14 years to the day that Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2 concluded Harry's journey on the big screen. The show has also revealed the first look at Dominic McLaughlin as Harry Potter, smiling in costume with the character's signature round glasses and school uniform. McLaughlin is joined by Arabella Stanton as Hermione Granger and Alistair Starr as Ron Weasley. The young trio were selected from more than 30,000 actors who auditioned in a casting call last fall. Wow, that's a lot. That's a big casting call.
Yeah.
30,000?
Yeah.
Now I know what they need AI for. You got to have the AI go through all that, you know.
And here's another thing, too. When you have casting calls that are that big and they pull a race swap, don't give me that you couldn't find somebody who fits the character out of that many people. That this was the only person that you could cast. You had already cast this person, and you had 30,000 people waste their time. You know?
See, part of me wonders, too, if those rumors were floating around originally to see how people were reacting to it. And I was wondering the same thing about the Zelda thing, only to find out, of course, later on that, of course, I was suspicious of it anyway, that it actually these rumors were unfounded. But I guess the rumors with Snape were founded when this was going around.
So, and this, I don't know, I'm guessing the article's not going to get this far into it, but I don't understand why they're making a TV show out of Harry Potter. It will not be as good as the movies, and it can't be, they can't spend that kind of money on it. Well,
no. They're going to spend money on it.
They're going to be spending a butt ton of money on it.
This will have Game of Thrones budget, I can tell you. Now, it may not have movie budgets, but it will have money on it.
The fans are hoping that what they're planning to do is kind of like what Peter Jackson did. Do all of it. Film all the stuff that they left out of the movies. You only had two hours plus a little change to get a whole book done. And there was characters that were left out. There was whole subplots and stories that were left out that the fans are upset about. So they're like, well, maybe the movie series wasn't the way to go. Let's go back and do it. Don't laugh. Stay with me. They're going to go back and do it faithfully. Now, as soon as you say that, you have to go, yeah, right, when you start looking at things like the casting and everything like this. So I really don't have a lot of faith in it, but that would be the argument for why they should do or why they would want to do a TV series on it.
Okay, I do want to address Nate's point here. J.K. Rowling went to the trouble of helping craft an exclusive movie series that was supposed to be a 5-movie series called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And then the prior administration at Warner Brothers screwed that up by getting rid of Johnny Depp. And
Yeah.
in Rowling's defense, she was one of the few people at the time who actually stuck up for Johnny Depp during that whole kerfuffle before it came out that he probably was innocent, but just the whole
which
thing,
is
yeah.
which is all the more reason why she needs to put her foot down when it comes to casting related stuff, and she's not.
I have no idea. It's possible she may be okay. I mean, keep in mind, I've always seen J.K. Rowling as on. I mean, she's a progressive. She just doesn't like certain issues that the modern progressives, at least in the United States, embrace. But
Oh yeah, Jesse Guajaro, that's just great. I'm not going to be the star of this movie that I was auditioning for and making thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm going to make a couple $100 a week, doing standing around and drinking coffee. That's what I want to do. Yeah.
well, it's a start. At least they're not using.
Well, no, it's
CG.
fine. It's fine. It's fine if the person that gets the role is like, yeah, okay, he was right for the role. But when you're sitting there going, I was never even considered because of the color of my skin, that's a different thing.
It's kind of interesting that people are making a point that there are certain characters in the book where skin color is not even really mentioned. Like they argued, you could probably cast a variety of women as Hermione. That's why I didn't really care about the young actress playing her, because it's not really specified in the book. But Snape was pretty clearly described in the book of what he's supposed to look like. And
yeah, and by changing his race, they very seriously change some story elements.
I'm worried about some stuff in context, and it's interesting. What I appreciate about Harry Potter is that bigotry exists in the Harry Potter universe. It just manifests itself differently than it does in the Wizarding world. It's about how pure-blooded are you as far as being a magic user are. Like, did you have one parent that was a regular person and didn't have magical abilities? Then you're called a mudblood, which is in the Harry Potter books is a nasty slur to call somebody. Or you could also be someone who was born from parents that had no magical ability, like Hermione was, and things like that. That's what the original.
I'm sorry, Jesse. I'm not understanding you.
Troy, that's what the original movies when they were casting. Oh, was that what they did in the original movies when they were casting?
I have no idea.
People? Anyway,
no, we were just reading in this article that 30,000 people auditioned for this show, and if you came out and you auditioned for the role of Snape, and then you saw which way they went, you go, okay, so I was never even being considered because of the color of my skin.
It's, yeah. Moving on to, the big news of the night.
Here's someone else losing his job because he's, they finally realized how worthless he was.
This kind of shocked me a little bit. Did it shock you, or were you expecting this?
It had to happen eventually. I was not shocked at all.
What shocked me is not that Stephen Colbert is leaving, it's the fact that they're just getting rid of it. CBS ending the Late Night franchise in 2026 in a surprise announcement Thursday. CBS Late Show host Stephen Colbert said the show will come to an end in May 2026. Colbert told the show's live audience during the taping of Thursday's show at the Ed Sullivan Theater in New York. In a statement, CBS said the cancellation was purely a financial decision made in a declining linear TV landscape. The end of the Late Show at the end of the 2025-2026 season will leave CBS without a late-night presence for the first time since 1993, when David Letterman moved from NBC to launch The Late Show. Colbert took over the show in 2015, has been a consistent ratings leader among the network 11:35 p.m. shows for much of that time. The announcement also comes as CBS parent company Paramount Global is hoping to close a merger with Skydance in the next few months. The company recently settled a lawsuit filed by Donald Trump. You know about that.
And I will say, again, what others have said. If you're making a $14 million salary and are responsible for your network losing as much as $40 million, I'm not going to cry too much when you lose your job. And you could blame it on whatever you want to. It's a numbers game, and you blew it, man. You should have seen this coming a long time ago.
It's a pity that the Stephen Colbert Show isn't ending this year. Well, it has to. It has an end date, but yeah, I kept thinking, oh, that's soon.
They
Like,
have
not
to.
really
They
soon.
have. He's got a contract that runs through a certain time. They have to ride that out.
This is a purely financial decision against a challenging backdrop of late night. It's not related in any way to the show's performance, content, and only thing matters at Paramount. Yeah, but Gutfeld does well at late night, so it's not even the
Mhm.
fact that people don't like the late night format, because it's just Colbert. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, he ran the show into the ground.
he did.
Uh,
Oh,
the,
I mean, come on. Everyone's pointing out his show used to be funny and entertaining, and now it's just him going on unhinged rants that even people that agree with him are like, I don't care anymore. I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of political commentators on YouTube that I agree with that I just don't want to listen to. It's just I agree with you. I'm done listening to you. I want to hear something more entertaining.
because it's time to move on, and people
Yeah.
don't move on. It didn't shock me. It didn't shock for me at all. And Jimmy Kimmel
Mm-hmm.
will be the next one to go. Funny you should mention Jimmy Kimmel,
Mm-hmm.
because that is our next
Next article leads right
article.
in.
This I thought you might find funny. Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon shocked over CBS's decision to end late night show. The worlds of politics and entertainment have reacted
Why? Why are they shocked? That just
because they
means they're
live in a
not paying
bubble.
attention.
Because
Yeah,
they live
they're
in a
not
bubble.
paying attention.
They live in their bubble where they think they're the end all be all of everything. They don't realize that people have other avenues of getting information, entertainment. They are clearly, they live in their ivory tower. They haven't been to the surface in so long. They don't know what's going
Right.
on anymore.
Exactly right.
The likes of Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, Ben Stiller, John Cusack, Andy Richter, Michael Ian. I don't care. Okay, and other prominent Democratic politicians such as Elizabeth Warren, Pramila Jayapal, and Adam Schiff have taken the social media to decry the decision. Yeah, because it's a political show. That's what it became.
Yeah.
Some entertainment industry figures and politicians have already claimed that CBS's move was linked to parent company Paramount Global's merger with Skydance Media, with the deal seeking regulatory approval from the Trump administration. Colbert has been among the most prominent critics of Donald Trump on television, has arguably built his commanding lead in late night ratings for more effectively skewering the president than some of his rivals. On Instagram, under the video of Colbert's monologue announcing the news, a number of celebrities replied with comments. The greatest to ever do it, wrote former Late Show band leader John Batiste. Okay, where was Rachel Zegler chimed in.
Yeah.
Love you, Steven. This is absolute BS, and I, for one, am looking forward to the next 10 months of shows. Kimmel, the host of ABC's late night staple Jimmy Kimmel Live, was forthright in his condemnation of the news. The long time.
Let's just say, if Rachel Zegler's on your side and you're in entertainment, you're probably on the wrong side of everything. Just saying.
Yes. The longtime friend of Colbert's, who shares an agent with his late night rival, posted a story to his Instagram in which he wrote simply, "Love you, Steven. F you and all you your Sheldon CBS." What does that mean? Is that like a Big Bang Theory reference or something?
I guess. I
like
don't know.
Sheldon Cooper's running things over there. Big Bang Theory made CBS a lot of money, dude.
I don't know what they're getting at with that. I don't.
Meanwhile, Fallon, veteran host of NBC's The Tonight Show, posted a statement on his Instagram story on Friday morning stating, "I'm just as shocked as ever, and Steven is one of the sharpest, funniest hosts to ever do it. I really thought I'd ride this out with him for years to come." Jimmy Fallon, he's the former SNL guy, right?
Right.
He never struck me as that bright. I'm not trying to be mean here, but
no.
In fact,
and honestly, he was kind of talented, but yeah, everything I've seen about him, he's dumb as a box of rocks.
Who did I like? Is it Craig Ferguson, the Scottish guy?
Oh yeah, Craig Ferguson, he's good. Yeah,
he's all right. He's like the only host now I think is any good, because he was always funny.
Yeah.
Is he still on air, or is he gone now?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't watch TV anymore. So
but I liked him. I thought he was all right. Yeah, but
yeah.
Some of these Seth Meyers, Colbert's fellow late night host on NBC's Late Night, posted a lighter tribute on his Instagram story. Is also Friday writing, "For as great a comedian host as he is, Stephen Colbert is an even better person." Okay. Bill O'Reilly called him an SOB at one of his shows. I remember that.
That's funny.
He's not. He doesn't like Colbert. He was because O'Reilly will actually he'll defend Jon Stewart. Says, look, Jon Stewart will have me on and be fine, and we disagree politically, but we're not. He's not nasty, but he thinks Colbert is an SOB. All right, so yeah, but I don't know. I think that's a very stupid thing for Kimmel to have said, though. He just insulted the entire network, right?
Well, not only that, a lot of people have been coming out and commenting on this, saying that's not real bright, insulting the company that is probably going to end up firing you for it. Just saying. Especially after you've seen it happen to someone else. What do you think's going to happen to you, genius?
Johnny Carson may have had one joke in 30 be political, but he kept it so balanced I couldn't tell you what his politics is. I can, so these guys...
Yeah, a good comedian is going to make any joke that he can, and if it's going to be political, he's going to roast everybody because he wants as much material as he can possibly get.
Colbert tried to stick his nose into the election here in South Carolina in 2016. That's interesting, deleted scenes. Adam Carolla was the brains of that operation. Oh, on the Man Show, yes, definitely. He lifted Kimmel up. Let's be honest here. That was all Carolla on that show. Gutfeld is more humorously serious. Gutfeld's doing fine in the ratings. He's been beating Colbert for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm just done with. I'm done with the late night hosts. Please go away. And they really are in a bubble. They don't get it. The audience has moved on.
Yep. Very, very true.
It's funny. I almost saw it doing Johnny Carson for good old days, but I realized we did a late night thing a while back. I think, didn't we? Because I was for when I was excited about Late Night with the Devil. All right. Moving on. Directors of Billy Joel and So It Goes give update on singer, talk new documentary. I hadn't heard about Billy Joel in a while. Had you?
No, I hadn't, but now, based on this article, I guess he's been having some health issues.
Yeah, the directors of Billy Joel and So It Goes recently opened up about the making of the new HBO documentary, provided an update on legendary singer's health. Billy Joel, who has been diagnosed with normal pressure hydrocephalus, a brain disorder that affects his vision, hearing, and balance, is currently undergoing physical therapy to regain his health and return to performing. He's doing physical therapy, he's healing, he's working on getting better, said Susan Lacey, the documentary's director, during an interview with which aired on Wednesday. This update follows the cancellation of several Joe's shows due to his diagnosis, leaving fans concerned for his health and future performances. The documentary offers a rare and intimate look into Joel's life, exploring both the highs and lows of his personal and professional journey. Mm-hmm. From childhood struggles to iconic songs that have defined his career. Mm-hmm. Let's see. You get to find out the documentary uncovers stories behind some of Joel's most beloved songs, from Haunting River of Dreams, which he said came to him in a dream, to New York State of Mind. I love that song, actually. Which he wrote after a bus ride to his new home in upstate New York. The documentary explores how Joel's personal experience shaped his music that touched millions of people. He's a savant, and music saved his life, Lacey explained. I want to watch this documentary.
Yeah, me too.
It's funny, he goes on to say, Uptown Girl, it could have been a Mozart piece. Here I am dating a supermodel me. I'm from Hicksville. Joe jokes in the film's trailer, recalling his life with Brinkley and their time together. Oh, Christy Brinkley.
Yeah. Exactly.
He was married to Christy Brinkley. Okay, they have a daughter together. So, yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard the name Billy Joel in a while, but he was big in the 80s. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hope he heals, and I hope he gets back to touring. That'd be cool.
Absolutely. Well, even if he doesn't get back to touring, it'd be great if he started publishing again, even if it means someone else is picking up and doing his music. He's incredibly talented songwriter.
Troy, about this Billy Joel new documentary, I didn't know too much about it that was coming out on HBO. HBO can do some good stuff, actually, with their documentaries. And HBO, I'll say this, they're pretty good about releasing their stuff on physical media, so they have that going too. Billy Joel came out with a great video some months back. Okay, great. I'll look for it.
Yeah.
And I think our final story of the night, our David Lynch story of the week.
Yep, this kind of ties in. This kind of ties into live from Sparkwood in 21 on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates every Tuesday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern.
I like that scene with Jeremy Irons and talking to the guy who's supposed to be laying out the cable or something. It just
Right.
because I know that was based on that had one based on an actual conversation Lynch had
I'm almost
on
certain,
set.
yes.
Although David Lynch's name almost always gets brought up first in conversations about his classic cult TV show Twin Peaks, it's worth remembering that the series was always a collaboration between Lynch and a lot of people, most notably his co-creator and co-writer Mark Frost. Frost, who co-wrote every episode of Twin Peaks: The Return and was responsible for what's technically been the final word in Twin Peaks world building 2017 novel, The Final Dossier.
Mhm.
Oh, which I know you're very familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
Owned the rights to these series along with Lynch, who died in January 2025. So there was always a potential universe where Frost could try to keep the show going, building on ideas he'd banded about with Lynch for a potential fourth season. He said in the past that he and Lynch had a little bit of a recipe forming for possible continuation. But said universe is not this universe, as Frost now basically confirmed that Twin Peaks died with David Lynch. He talked a bit where the fourth season he talked a little bit about where a fourth season might go. Frost revealed in a conversation with Empire Magazine this month. But with David having left us, it's hard to imagine doing anything beyond this. It certainly feels like it's closed the circle. And Frost went on to talk about some of the initial disagreements the duo had about what will now almost certainly be the final moments of Twin Peaks. From the Return's deliberately dark and confusing finale, initially David and I were of two minds about how to end The Return. Frost said in the interview, specifying that the two disagreed about what should happen after the audience moment when Kyle MacLachlan's Dale Cooper goes back in time. Spoiler, to try to prevent Laura Palmer's series inciting death.
Yeah, but a spoiler for a show that's what?
Plus, you should have been watching along with us on Deleted Channel.
Coming up on a decade old at this point.
I felt Cooper going back and rescuing Laura, then having the mystery of her death disappear might be an extraordinary way to bring us back to ground zero. But David said he has to pay a price for what he's tried to do, hence the more overtly horrific vibe of the fun. I'm in agreement.
Yeah.
I think Lynch was correct here with Cooper apparently stuck.
We may revisit all of that again, especially since for Deleted it was his first time watching it, and I would say that it might be worth revisiting all of it again. I think there's enough call to do that, but kind of bearing the lead, I do believe that what's her name? Paige, the character that Cheryl Lee plays, the not Laura that is in the alternate universe or whatever that Cooper finds himself in, has no memory of her previous life, and at that moment that she screams at the very end, she is receiving all the memories of Laura and all the trauma and everything she's gone through all at once. And when you think about it that way, that's just horrific.
Curtis Selby says, suddenly I feel very old. Is that because we're saying how old Twin Peaks: The Return
is?
Yeah. Here's what's going on, Curtis Selby. One of the reasons why we feel old is because there's nothing, because a lot of the new stuff is not as engaging as the old stuff. And I think true. That's sort of what keeps us
And that's why we have
young.
to keep revisiting it,
Well, there's that line in Star Trek 2 at the end where he says, I feel young. Remember at the end when he says that? I mean...
Yeah.
I love the past. When I was growing up, I wasn't always obsessed with the past. I was obsessed with the present. This whole streaming thing has royally screwed up how Hollywood operates. I think that's the big culprit here.
It really
a
has.
lot of the problems. First song I heard from Billy Joel was the Longest Time and Uptown Girls. Okay, yeah. So I don't know. I miss David Lynch, and we don't have a David Lynch, but maybe Mark Frost can come up with something. Maybe come up with a series on your own. Make it your own. Maybe.
He's gonna have to do something on his end. And the other thing too is he says this. Why are we even talking about it then? You know, why are you even? Honestly, I think that
it's the press. The press was bugging him about it during an interview.
I get that. I do think that if he finds himself in a situation in about 5 years or so, and he's got nothing else going on, he may decide to write a book or something, and he may continue the Twin Peaks story. Maybe you'll even give a disclaimer. Remember, this is just me without David. This isn't necessarily what he would have done, but enjoy. Give me money, you know?
Yeah. All right, and that's it for tonight. Kind
Yep.
of. I don't know. I need a new show. I guess we have the Tulsa King, but I kind of want something else. You know, I want something moody and creepy. That's what I want.
In fairness, we are, well, at least as far as late night goes, we're kind of stepping into that gap. You guys come and hanging out with us are probably watching us more than people are watching, these late night shows that are getting canceled. So
Do you want to show them our
we
studio?
are. Oh yeah. Let me let's go back to the.
Look at that, huh?
Well, unfortunately, I can't. How do I do it with? I guess what I could do is I.
Don't
could
worry
take the
about it. It's not that big a deal. Anyway. Oh, there you
Just take
go.
the
Look at that. Look at
presentation.
our
There you go.
studio, huh?
That's our
Just
studio. That's
pretend
our
we're
late night
here.
studio. This is where we are when we're doing the show.
Remember when the gorilla
You'll
was
notice
loose? The
on
gorilla was
the
loose here once.
yeah
Studio. Remember, he was throwing the chairs around.
on the right hand side you see the Chicago skyline. On the left hand side you see the Miami skyline. So
I've been to Miami once briefly.
I know you're in that general area there.
Okay, I guess close enough. Yes. Gutfeld is. I'd way rather hang with you guys than listen to Colbert. Well, Colbert's just gotten very obnoxious over the years, and I'm just done. I'm done with it all. It's time to move on. Late night's over. They got out of touch.
Culture Casino made a great point, and that is one of the big differences about this format is we have direct communication with our audience. You guys can chat. You guys can get your say, like live, like you're here in the studio. It's like these guys in front of a live studio audience, but actually interacting with that studio audience. You know?
Exactly. Kind of like how some shows did when they would let random people in the audience chime in, but they don't think they do that anymore, right?
Remember Carol Burnett used to do that. That was great.
Yeah.
Where they would always, ask a question and have a question and answer. But then invariably there was always someone that would ask her to do the Tarzan yell, which she would, because she was a good sport. But she was really good at it.
There you go.
But yeah. So stay right where you're at. As soon as we kick you loose, if you're over here on my channel or if you're on Netter's Network, we're going to slide you over to deleted scenes. And for those of you that are on Aged Boomers, let me go ahead and just drop the link for you to just go there yourself. Right after this, well, in about an hour, really. Over on Deleted Scenes channel, he will be interviewing writer Albert Lanier, who was a guest on Netter's channel about 2 weeks back. Go check him out. Go support him. Say hi for us, and make sure you subscribe and do the likes and all the YouTube things to support. This new medium that we've got going on. Now, tomorrow night, those of you that are members of my channel, the members have requested that we watch Sunset Boulevard, which I think is actually a brilliant choice because we were talking about Sunset Boulevard last week during our watch party of Inland Empire, or at least the first half of it, on Live from Sparkwood 21. How David Lynch said that Sunset Boulevard, in his opinion, is a perfect film, and how there are a lot of elements and themes from Sunset Boulevard in Inland Empire. Which leads me to Tuesday, Live from Sparkwood 21, we will be watching the second half of Inland Empire at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates.
Cool.
Followed by the next episode of Blake 7, which is called Death Watch. So hope to see you all there.
Will there be a death in Death Watch?
Well, yes, and that death might actually be Terrence's brother. We'll have to find out. On Thursday, Netter's Network, I believe her guest is, I may be mistaken, but I think it's the Horror King. There we go. The Horror King, who was here in the chat earlier, he will be on Netter's channel on Thursday. Looking forward to that. And then Friday, Sir Torrin Clegane, by the way, he just got me the notes. I'll forward those to you after the stream, Boomer. We will be joined by Sir Torrin Clegane, who's going to be chatting with us about the shared universe of daytime dramas back in the day. Before you had crossover films and shared universes, you had networks that had crossover storylines in the daytime dramas, and we'll be talking about that.
Cool.
Saturday, I believe
It's Big Al.
Big Al.
And it's...
Do you remember?
I want to say it's not Rocket Man, but something like that. I want to say something space adventure-y. I could be wrong.
I don't remember, and unfortunately I didn't think to have it at my fingertips here.
Give me a second. I will look it up. Keep talking amongst yourselves. I will try to look it up.
I'm already there, going to his live section. It'll be we just watched last Flight of the Navigator. Flight of the Navigator. There you go.
I used to watch that. That was a Disney production.
Yes, it was, and I vaguely remember it. I know I saw it on cable. I just don't remember the details.
It's not bad. I enjoyed it. It's a family kids movie. It's
yeah.
I think it's basically about a kid that gets his own.
Basically abducted by aliens. Yeah.
Well, I think it's abducted by a spaceship. I don't know if there's an alien in the ship or if it's like a computer control program. But
and it needs him to fly the ship or whatever.
Yeah, but it's not. It has a good ending. It's I think it starts out kind of tragic, and then everything gets fixed at the end. Okay, yeah, so, yeah.
Cool.
I remember that.
Yeah, well, so that's what we'll be watching on Saturday over on Big Al Presents Films with Friends.
Is Fred Savage in that, or is it a Fred Savage lookalike?
I think it's a Fred Savage lookalike.
Okay,
I don't think it was actually Fred Savage.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. Okay. All right. Cool.
I mean, not that they were casting someone that looked like Fred Savage.
No, but
a lot of kids
you
look
get
like
certain types in certain decades.
If anything, they were probably trying to cast someone that looked like Elliot from E.T.
That actually makes more sense now I think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody wanted to do another E.T. That was always a thing people were trying to do.
I know. And nobody succeeded. See, this is the problem. If you're going to do a rip-off of something that's that classic, don't bother. You're not gonna hit those heights.
No,
it's not worth it. Come up with a new thing. Or if you're gonna rip something off that should have been a hit and wasn't because it wasn't done well enough, too cheap a budget, or wasn't marketed well or something like that. Just my thought. Anyway.
All right, y'all have a good rest of your week. I think that's it. Oh, that'll bring us to Sunday, right? And Sunday will be...
Sunday, of course, will
deleted scenes unscripted.
All the deleted stuff leading into, of course, Geeky Geezers next week.
Thank you. All right. Everyone, y'all have a good week, and we'll see you next time. And should be hopefully some interesting news that will unfold next week. Catch you later.
Yep. Take care. Bye-bye.